This is episode 39, and I turn 39 in a few days. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that's the universe telling me to pay attention. And that's what we're talking about today. Attention. What you're choosing to let in, what it quietly does to your creative life, and what it looks like to stop following everyone else's blueprint and finally just trust your own. Hello, hola, you beautiful beings. Welcome back to Muse. My name is Damaris, and this episode is a bit of a personal one. It's my birthday episode. It's my 39th, and I'm closing out my 30s. So it's a pretty big change, a pretty big shift. This is also for anyone who's ever consumed something inspiring and then ended up feeling worse about their own work. This is for anyone deep in their heads, feeling like they're not enough, visible enough, doing enough, or that you're not on the right platform. We're talking about attention, the unthinking era, and what it means to follow your instincts unapologetically. By the end, I'm hoping that you'll be able to recognize the trap, catch it faster, and have full permission to just get back to your work. What you pay attention to becomes the blueprint of your life. So what blueprint are you actually building from? So episode 39, my 39th birthday, it doesn't feel random. I don't know about you, but for me, my birthday signifies quite a bigger change or shift in my life, more than the new year. It signals the new year for me. It makes me reflect more deeply. New year to me feels more external, arbitrary. My birthday feels more personal and mine, which kind of correlates to how I plan my goals and how I focus on my dreams and things like that. In the new year, I tend to think about goals for the year, for quarter periods of time, and things that I want to do in general. But on my birthday, I tend to reflect more on where I've been, where I'm going, my desires, what my heart and my gut is actually leading me towards, what's true for me. And because this is the last year of my 30s, it really does feel like a big deal. I don't want to make a big deal about it, especially out loud, but here, and this is kind of personal, it feels like a very intimate setting and way to share my true feelings about it, feeling like it is a big deal to me personally. Not so much because I'm getting older or because I'm gonna be 40 soon. It's just the reminiscing of what my 30s were like. And I have been contemplating this in the last few weeks leading up to my birthday, which is in a few days. And something that I feel like I'm stepping into is definitely this unthinking era, which I'll explain a little bit more. Kind of in the field of I don't give a fuck type of attitude. I follow my instincts and just do what I want, when I want, and how I want to do it. No ifs, ands, or buts. Kind of this, that's it. I'm not going to stop myself in any shape, way, or form from doing what I want to do when I want to do it. That's kind of this unthinking era, this period that I feel like I'm stepping into at 39. And to be honest, it's not like this is a new version of me. I have always been this type of person inside, like really deep inside, and I don't think I've always shown or expressed myself in that way. I've always considered other people first. I've always really been attuned to how my energy and what I say and my attitude impacts other people around me. And because of that, I've tended to mute myself a little bit or kind of restrain myself in certain ways. And that's fine for certain environments and like things like that. I think more so now, sharing more of myself online in this way, I have kept some of that kind of perspective of trying to appear or appease or I don't know, to other people, to a certain demographic maybe, where I wasn't 100% being the I don't give a fuck version of me. And that's what I think has been lacking in the way that I have showed up. And it's not to say that it's good or bad, or like I should have done this or should have been like that more. It's just I wasn't in that headspace. I wasn't in that mentality. I wasn't in that vibe. That wasn't the era for that. I just feel like now it is. And I do go a little bit deeper into this topic and my birthday and kind of what I expected my 30s were, and then all that in my Substack post that I posted this week. I'll leave that in the show notes and description. If you're interested in reading a little bit more, feel free. But really today I kind of want to talk about what it actually looks like to put that attitude, that this era, into practice. What is that actually going to look like for me? What does that entail? Because you might be in a similar place. You might be thinking something similar. Your birthday might be coming up or has just recently passed. It's a new year. It's still, we're just getting into the third month of this new year. So yeah, there's a lot of things shifting right now, and I think the energy is that. It's kind of more reflective, going a little bit deeper, excavating a little bit more what we actually desire and where we actually want to be and how do we get there. So the moment that kind of started this whole thing was this morning when I watched a video of a young woman who was talking about her Substack post that she was sharing her perspective on engineering luck, which I thought was an interesting concept. And then she proceeded to read a little excerpt of her post. And as she was reading, she was expressing how luck isn't something that you get, it's something that's all around. And she said she wanted to stop asking, why isn't this happening to me yet? But instead wanted to start asking, am I in enough places to be seen? Which I thought, wow, what a great question. What a great way to reframe that topic or that initial instinct of questioning why you are not somewhere. And it's truly something that I've asked myself many times. And then while I was walking my dogs, after having watched this video, I was contemplating what she had said. I started to question myself and question what I'm doing. Am I visible enough? Am I doing enough? Is the way that I'm showing up actually reaching the audience that I want? How can I shift into being more visible, being in more places? And I started to go down this rabbit hole. And as I was walking the dogs, I literally had to stop. Like, I stopped walking and the dogs were kind of like, what the heck? They were a little bit confused, but I had to stop myself because that wasn't actually my own thought. I was following someone else's train of thought and frame of mind and mindset for the things that they wanted to achieve in their career, in their path, which is completely different from the things that I'm wanting to achieve and the things that I'm working towards. So although it was a very inspiring and motivating video, it really made me feel bad because I was questioning if what I was doing was good enough, if what I was doing was the right, quote unquote, right path, the right way to do something, and left me questioning the things that I was already doing. Because her goals and career and even her perspective on what she deems to be success for her is going to be completely different from what I deem to be success. So the reality is I'm trying to be a full-time artist. I'm not sure what she was doing exactly. The approach and the outcome are not going to be the same. And that's the trap, not the content itself. I saved it because I think it was a very useful question to ask, but it wasn't the right way for me to look at my own work and my own approach to my work. Inspiration becomes a problem the moment that it stops being fuel and starts being a measuring stick. And that's why I wanted to share it as well, because if you're like me and you question yourself or feel inspired by other things and you're constantly grabbing things from this person and then you see this and you're like, wow, that's amazing, I want to do more of that and I want to implement a little bit of this, as much as that is inspiring and that is potentially helpful for you, it doesn't actually get you to do the work, and it is taking away from what and who you truly are and what you want to be saying, what you want to be expressing. So that's something to really think about. Everything you let in becomes the lens with which you see the world, with how you move in the world, and more importantly, how you view your own work. Every video, post, strategy, opinion, it does shape how you perceive what you're doing. And I didn't really realize that or take that into account when I was thinking about these things and trying to take from different people and implement them into my work, into my lifestyle. And slowly I was getting further and further from my own voice, from the things that actually work for me. And this is what I want you to be able to find for yourself. When your attention lives on what's not working, then I feel like you're going to be finding more things that are not going to work. Your attention will shift into thinking who's ahead and how much more they're doing than you are in the same field, or what you're missing in your work or in your system and strategy. I tend to fall into that trap a lot. Also in how much output you're doing and your creative energy. All of those things start to become comparison points within your work and within yourself. But when your attention lives on creating, experimenting, expressing, it becomes a completely different output, a completely different perspective. The way that you create and the way that your mind will make connections with the world around you and within your own work will be more refined and will become clearer and less watered down or influenced by other things. Not to say that we shouldn't consume anything, and we're not really talking about the consumption of other people's work. It's just how we let that impact our lives from day to day. So the question becomes not why am I not there yet, but more so, am I even going in the direction that I truly want or desire? You can't build something original if you're constantly measuring it up someone else's blueprint. So let me get into what this unthinking era really is. This concept came from a podcast that I heard the other day. The two hosts, I think every month, talk about what their desires that they're wanting for the following month. So how you would do an intention or have a word for the month. They do this but for different areas of your life, and it's kind of these mini goals but more meaningful, I would say, that they share on the podcast. And one of the women said she wants to incorporate more unthinking, and immediately I wrote it down. I was like, wow, what a concept. This is literally the key to the things that I have been struggling with, which is the opposite of unthinking. I have been overthinking, just over-analyzing, overthinking, just over it. And the whole concept of it being or becoming my era. You're so helpful, and you're truly just like really trying to warn mama that somebody's here, and I appreciate that. And the whole concept of it becoming my unthinking era is to switch from overthinking, overanalyzing, and getting caught up really in my mind, because that's where I feel like I have the most problem in my work and in how I do things. It's getting caught up or distracted in my thoughts and just going too far in one direction when I don't need to think so much. It can be so much more simple, do the thing that I say I want to do. I don't need to overthink it, and more action, more doing things instinctually, is that the word? Less questioning if it's good enough, less questioning, oh, am I posting too late? Or, is it gonna be bad for the algorithm? Like, who gives a fuck? Like, just post it when I want to post it. If it's ready to go and I'm ready to share it, just share it. You know what I mean? Like, those are the kind of things that I want to stop overthinking about, and that's the attitude that I want to go into turning 39, and also just in this next month, catapulting this era of putting what I want out there and expressing myself in the way that I want and less filtering myself. I want to be able to say that I'm ending my 30s knowing that I am and have become the kind of person that operates from that place. That's the goal. Somebody that just creates, just expresses, just is honest and forward and direct. I think the more that I repeat it, it helps for it to sit into my own mind, and I hope that that is something that will be just as meaningful for you. Or, maybe for you, you'll find different words that will be more impactful. The truth is, this era literally just started this week. So it's not like it's perfect. It's not like I have it all figured out, hence why I keep repeating it. It's something that I just started, and I'm just figuring out that that's the kind of woman that I want to be, the kind of person that I want to show. It's going to take time to figure out how much more I'm going to be doing to express what that looks like. But for now, this is what I have in mind, because I think you can't hear your own creative voice if you're constantly questioning your creative voice. To me, that just sounds so peaceful. So I'm really excited to be implementing that. I do want to touch on a little something about the podcast, which if you've been following me for a little while, you would have noticed already. I haven't explicitly said anything. Honestly, I'm a little bit nervous, but for those of you that don't know, this is only the second episode that I've done this year. And since April of last year, when I started the podcast, I posted every week up until December, I would say. I was burnt out, and I was also quite disappointed with the growth of the podcast after putting so much energy and time and love and ideas into what I shared, that I felt pretty discouraged. And on top of that, I was burnt out, that I took a break. And honestly, I was contemplating just like not having the podcast anymore. And I realized that I don't need the podcast to be my main outlet or form of expression. So I decided to still share an episode per month. The reason that I did this was to reduce the pressure of posting every week, and my focus has shifted a little bit. I want the podcast to feel, for me, as a form of expression that is different from just YouTube stuff, that's different from TikTok, that's different from my Substack. I think I'm going to keep it that way for a while. So if you have noticed or wondering, that is the reason. I'm happy about it, and I think that it will lead to more interesting content, more authentic content from me. So the pod is monthly now, which is one part of a much larger creative life. And that just sounds more true to me and true to, I think, my initial idea of what I wanted the podcast to be. I've always wanted a podcast, and then I finally did it, and then it really didn't happen the way that I wanted, but ultimately it falls back to the same thing. I don't want to be overthinking and overanalyzing something that feels like it needs to change or needs to evolve. So that's where we're at now. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'd love to answer or connect with you about that. I just wanted to be honest, and I wanted to share. I thought that I was just gonna not say anything and let it just kind of linger there and disappear, and feel like now is the time with this episode and what I'm talking about to share and to dust the cobwebs out, just kind of clean it out, make it fresh, this is what it's gonna be, this is what it feels like, at least for the time being. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen in 6 months. This is what it's gonna look like for now. So going into some ideas of how you can implement and practice this type of thinking for yourself, this is what I came up with. Because we all know that sunlight and being outside and getting that on our face and our eyes is like super important, and, you know, getting vitamin D. But that doesn't mean that we necessarily go outside and get it. It doesn't mean we go and stand in the sunlight, you know, for 10-15 minutes and are able to do that every day. So as much as that is a healthy thing to do, we don't always do the healthy thing. And I think that that's very similar to this practice and this concept that I'm trying to share. I think the first thing that you can do, and was what I did when I caught myself walking my dogs, thinking about that first TikTok of engineering your own luck, was to notice it. So to notice it, meaning you catch the moment that you feel you start going sideways after consuming something. That would be the first move, the first observation to say, okay, wait a minute, is this a me thing or is this coming from somewhere else? Which brings me to the second point. Ask. When you catch yourself, like I did, walking the dogs, and I was like, wait, why am I feeling this way? That's when I think you can ask, is this mine? Did I bring these thoughts into my mind from someone else's perspective, from someone else's world? And then I think being able to trace that rabbit hole thought all the way back will be helpful to get to the beginning of where that thought and seed was planted. Was that something that came from you? Is that something that you truly desire? Or are you trying to implement some thought, some process, some strategy, some creative thinking that someone else has shared? And it became something that was inspiring in the moment and now has trickled into you now getting caught up in your own thoughts, questioning your own work, your own process, whatever that looks like for you. And then I think coming back to what's in front of you is so important. Being able to analyze and kind of say, okay, this was from this. What am I doing now? What is the thing that I'm actually focusing on right now? This is what I want. This is truly my desire and where I want to be heading. I think that that will help to reframe the perspective of where you might have gone back to what is important to you. Because that's what I did, and that's what made it important for me and made me realize, okay, I don't need to be getting caught up. I don't need to be overthinking and analyzing how I'm going to be more visible, because I'm already really visible. I am already putting a lot of things out there. I do a lot of things. Like, how much more freaking visible can I be? It's not about that for me and for my work. I don't know her story. I don't know where she came from to get to that point. So how can I implement something that is not even starting on the same footing? Like, I already have been putting out content for more than a year consistently. So I am visible. Is it visible enough? I don't know. I don't know if I can really determine that. I don't know if that really matters. And at least it doesn't matter to me, because that's not my goal, to be more visible. My goal is to be more authentic and to be an artist and to express my work and share it with the world. That is my goal. So very different from her point. So being able to come back and reflect on that and say, okay, yeah, this is not my thing, was very refreshing. I don't think I ever really did it in that way before, or even that quickly. I think what can be helpful in these cases where you might not catch it right away, or you don't know how to like move forward from now being stuck in this like mindset that's kind of bumming you out, I think it could be useful or helpful to have a list of things that you know gets you out of that mentality. When you're in a good place, write a list of things that help you to kind of move through that energy. Walking might be one of them. Listening to really good music. I've created like a morning playlist that I really love the songs and just like get me going. Just put me in a good vibe. So like that can be really helpful. Sometimes just taking a shower, just like, you know, refreshing yourself. If you can implement that, I think that that would be really helpful when you're caught up in those places. And just come back, you know, even if you get caught up, just make sure that you like slowly come back to yourself, come back to your work, come back to what you want. No one's here to judge you. No one's here to criticize whether you got caught up and started going down another, you know, direction. Like the only person that's you're accountable to is yourself. That pressure is enough. I mean, at least for me. You don't have to try and fix everything. I think it's just getting back to who you are and what you really want and what you're really working towards. Being that super huge and kind of like this directional arrow in your mind, like a compass, like refocusing back to like, oh wait, I'm actually going in this direction. I was kind of over here for a bit and I'm like, wait a minute, that is not my north. This is like, I need to come back to where it's actually pointing north because I'm like going off west or whatever. I don't even know if that is a good analogy, but here we are. So the unthinking era isn't the end of something else, of like my old me and now this is the new me. It's really just meshing things that made me who I am before and really the beginning of this next phase, which is so exciting and new and yeah, I think refreshing because I haven't been here before. So I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it's going to be like. I'm literally sharing in real time, in real life, how that's going to show up. And I'll be sharing that in all my different platforms as I go on, as I move forward. 39 feels like it's the year where I'm going to stop asking for permission or feeling like I need permission in a certain way to do things for the algorithms or the frameworks that work best, or, you know, just trying to fit into this box of what being online now looks like, or what other people's definition of success is. Because that, I feel, is a topic in itself, what success really means to you and how to figure that out. But I know what it means for me to be successful. That is what I'm working towards. Because to be alive, to be here, be living another year and being able to express myself is the whole point. I'm doing all this because it's meaningful to me, an innate thing that I need to be doing. Literally the desire to express is so huge that I can't help myself but do it. And that's me, that's my thing, that's who I am. It might look different for you and that's totally fine. So I think you can stop asking why you're not where they are and maybe start asking whether you're paying enough attention to where you actually want to go. Thank you so much for being here. This is episode 39 and I'm turning 39. I couldn't have planned it better. If this one landed for you, send it to someone who you think needs to hear it. That's really the best way to support this pod right now. And I appreciate that support genuinely from the bottom of my heart, whoever has been following. Until now, thank you. I'll be back next month. But until then, keep creating. Bye.